Justin here. We'll wait for a few viewers to get online, but already. Oh, Rich, how's it going? Yeah, so I want to introduce you guys to somebody really special in the short-term rental space who's done a lot, and she's pretty much dominated the experiential tourism space, and she'll tell you shortly how she's done that and some of the stuff she's doing right now. That's remarkable. So I just wanted to introduce Alison to the group, and she's going to be doing this call weekly. So how's it going, Alison?
So good. Thank you so much for helping me get online. Technical difficulties. Yeah, it's been a ride. So this is an extremely new market, and it's very rapidly, fastly growing to the point, like I just mentioned off the call, where I canceled my flight here in Georgia because the Chamber of Commerce is actually giving 1,400 properties to the new company and brand we just launched. So that's grossing over $330,000 per county per month. And we had to put a pause on that. So this is literally printing money if done correctly. And you knew me in my infancy stage back in Arizona when we had challenges with good people, quality people. So when you master it and you work through the kinks and you figure out a solid plan, this can literally be deployed anywhere. Mountain, desert, ocean, coastal properties, lakefront. So there needs to be more people doing this because I'm tired.
Yeah, you're like the only one that's in this space, and from what I've seen, at least doing it at scale, and 1,400 property. I mean, it just shows how much of a demand there is for something like this. And can you speak to like how much this can help somebody with revenue on their existing properties or just diversification within their current assets?
100%. So right now, I'm actually in a short-term rental. I'm in a lodging right now. There's nothing. I walked into this. When I see this is a gold mine. When I see a binder, that's like walking into a small business and seeing a fax machine. Right off the bat, you know they have no technology, you know they have no systems and processes, and you know that they're a very low scale. This to me screams help, and it screams that all they're doing is one income stream. And so it has stuff to do. You can walk around a lake, you can order food from the local restaurant. Who's going to do that? Not me. I'm not going to do that. So what we do in experiential tourism is we create custom curated experiences per property, per location. So for example, Arizona, you can launch in Scottsdale, you can launch in Sedona, and you can do a 5 to 50 mile radius because people really don't want to drive. So you can deploy that in each and every market. Now, if you're a short-term rental owner and you're just playing ball on your average daily rate, then you have to bet on your property turning 3 times a week to keep your head above water and for you to have play money to take home. And in a downturn, what's going to set you apart? So it's very much so interesting to create a brand. And you have 2 companies. You have your short-term rental company that either your property owner or your property partner with the owner arbitraging. And then you have your experiential company. And your experiential company deploys those experiences on all the properties that you own or arbitrage on. And your also experiential company can go and get other leads. That's how you get your foot in the door. Because you can go sign 500 or 1,400 properties just like I did in a week because it's so needed. And matter of fact, the local people love you. People are like, oh, no one's going to want to do. They're begging for people to do that. Because when people are begging, when you have property managers whose only job is to manage the cleanings, manage the bookings, manage the guest interaction, they're not going to want to go create custom experience packages. They're tired. They have a life. They have family. And when you have small business owners and artisans and vendors downtown They're running a storefront. They're running a small business. So they don't want to do that. So the last thing that they want to do is go out and door knock. So you have a huge gap here. You have really cool people doing really cool things. And some of you on this call are small business owners or have been. And you know the stress that it is of being a small business owner. And then you have property management. That's a nightmare sometimes. So at the end of the day, the last thing you want to do is figure out how to do another income stream, let alone create something really fun and cool. So post or pre-COVID, when Justin and I met, that is exactly what happened. It fell in my lap. People are like, what do we do? What do we do? What's something so fun to do? And I hate when I go to places, I'm like, are you kidding me? So it puts 50% more bookings in your property per month. These are case studies. It increases your average daily rate by 30% because now that you have an amenity, now that you have a resort style property with offerings, you can charge more. It cancels it reduces your cancellations by 2x. So if let's say you're getting 5 cancellations a month, you'll probably only get 1.5, if that. Because if people are booking your property to go do something, they're not going to cancel. It's the same psychology of you booking to go get your hair done, to go get a massage, to go hunting, to go golfing. You're not going to cancel because you're looking forward to that. So when it comes to where do I start? Okay, Allison, this is fun. This is cool. You're printing money. How do I start? The first thing is if you have properties, there's 2 roadmaps that we're looking at. I am a property owner or co-owner. I have nothing. I'm starting at square zero. If you're starting at square zero or you're in Justin's group and you're just starting, do your research. Do not jump into bed in a market that you know nothing about, and do not partner with properties because they look cool. I turned someone down in this group because when they sent me their property, I could not help them. The property was in a great location, but the interior inside was not luxury, and it was so limited to that specific location that there's nothing more you can do than what it was decorated for. I don't do theme properties because that limits you, that puts you in a box. And I say themed properties for a reason because you can do themed group masterminds, you can do themed events, but once you start painting walls and ordering decor, you're limiting yourself. It's very
Can you dive deeper on that? Why are they limiting themselves? And also, I just want to make sure that you can see the comment section. If you
I can't. How do I see comments?
I'm on my phone too right now. It's on the bottom bar.
So I just see chat.
That's chat. Yes, that would be the comment section.
Okay.
And there's like I mentioned, there'd be more. I see we have 7 viewers online. I'm trying to look at who is Tracy, Ronald.
You know, I wish. Can we do next Tuesday? Can we do a lot? Because you do the live Q&As where you can see the people.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you could do that on Circle here. That is a really good question.
Because I think we can do a gallery view. Anyway, we'll not to digress. We'll get into that another point. So yes, here's why it's limiting you. Because if all of a sudden I buy a themed property for hunting lodges, and this is a perfect one. I'm a hunting lodge. All I do is hunters. Okay, cool. Well, you're going to make your money, but guess what happens after hunting season? You're fish in the water. No one's going to come up there. And they tried to partner with me in the summer up in Colorado, and I wouldn't do it because you got dead animals hanging on your walls. And not that I'm against it, but people who want to host retreats, that's where the other big money is, because you got a 7,000 square foot pristine hunting lodge. Those people who want to host retreats, they don't like that, right? So it's not their cup of tea, and you just shut down a $230,000 income stream. Ran 3 times, 38,000 every time that was ran with 12 people. So you have to pick properties that are luxury. Where would you stay? Where would your mom stay? Where would you have your girlfriends go for an event? Where would you host a real estate mastermind? Are you going to walk in with teal blue walls and cartoons? No. So don't limit yourselves on the properties that you're partnering with, and make sure, to me, I always ask myself, can I sell this home for $1.3 million on the market? If I could sell the home and that home appraises for its value, I'll partner with them as a short-term rental co-owner or experience package creator. Now, I'm gonna go into 2 different things. If you're just starting off, or if you're relaunching, find an area that is 45 minutes to an hour max outside of a major nature destination. And here's why. Because up here in Georgia, we have the Blue Ridge Appalachian Mountains, the oldest mountains on the earth. They're 8 trillion with the TR years old. And I just learned that on a recent hike. I didn't know that. Anyway, people come all over from Georgia, Tennessee, the Carolinas. I'm surrounded by 3 state lines right now. You know, the counties that I'm in, White County, Shiawassee County, Rabin County, they're begging for my services because they have such a natural influx of people going there that they want something new, something fresh, something custom. And I don't know how to screen share here, but I wanted to show you guys a brand we just launched, and I texted it to Justin. But maybe I'll comment it in the chat. But that is the custom experience packages that we just launched December 1st. It's our Blue Ridge collection. And what we're doing is we're taking those experiences, those exact experiences, and we're going to the next town and finding different vendors. Next town, different vendors. So you guys have to build your systems and processes as a rinse and repeat, because if you can't scale it and you're doing it, you don't have a company, you have a job. And here's where I'm at right now. I'm in the Georgia mountains because I'm dedicated to my clients. I will never, and I told a few of you on the call, I will never take you on if I can't help you. There's some people I can't work with, and it would only waste my time, and which is the most valuable thing to me. I don't want your money, but it would only waste my time and your time and put you back. If you're in a market that experiential tourism is a thumbs up for, then there's 3 things you need to look for. Local vendors. Local vendors that are doing really cool things. We're doing lavender and honeybee. We're doing candle making. I met this guy, Doug, who used to work for Steve Madden, who has his own leather shop. We're doing custom leather keychains and custom knife making and custom purses and jewelry making. And this is appropriate for the Blue Ridge Mountains. Because when people come up here, they're hiking all day. They're in the hot tub all day. They've been on the wine tours. What else is there to do? And you'll watch the local community start coming to these events. Nature is very powerful, and it's a very powerful tool because you don't got to do that much. Wilderness classes, make your own medicine, make your own herbal tinctures, make your own teas, go learn how to survive. We have one guy, he teaches you how to track animals and like literally just be in the elements. But we're charging $850 for that. And I'm paying him $100. So I'm cashing out at $700 and I didn't do anything.
Can you go deeper on that, on the margin specifically? Because when I pulled up a chart the other day, and I was like, it was the highest ticket experiences that I could come up with using AI and calling people as well. Some of those were like $200-300 per person. You just mentioned $800, and I harp on high ticket experiences as being the pathway to exponentially grow your revenue. So what's like your average ticket price for a high ticket experience for your business?
So $200 to $2,000 is where we range. And I did math with somebody who's on this call the other day just to give him a ballpark of how this is gambles out. So let's say we have let's say my cheapest package is $200, right? And let's say I deploy that on 90 cabins up here. And let's say let's say out of those 90 cabins, 50, let's say half of them people buy. So let's say 45 cabins buy $200. So what's 45 times 20? I'm bad at mental math. You got to help me out here.
45 times 20.
No, excuse me. 45 times 200.
Yeah. 9,000.
And that's a month. And that's one turn. And that's if one person bought. And that's at 50%. What's the first thing you do when you walk into a hotel room? Pick up the room service, pick up the amenities, pick up the book. What can I do? That's our cheapest package. So at my cheapest package, my worst package, my worst nightmare, I'm walking away with $9,000. And that's one turn. So now let's play it a little bit higher. Okay. So 90 cabins, that each of these cabins, especially during peak season, they're turning 2-3 times a week. So let's say 90 cabins, we'll keep it again at that 50% buy rate. So 45 cabins, and let's do my median ticket, which is $375. So 45 times 375 is what?
Let's find out. $16,875.
$16,875. One turn. Times that by 2. So just add 16,875 to that.
And what did Albert Einstein say the eighth wonder of the world is? It's compound interest.
Exactly.
So $33,750.
That's per month. That is your median range per month on your median ticket package, and that's 2 cabin turns. And this is why I say be very precise in where you're going. Because if you're in a market like a mountain market that I'm in right now that need this demand, what do you think Lake Tahoe is? What do you think Lake Havasu is? What do you think Lake Raven is? All these places that people flock to in the summertime or flock to in the autumn time to watch the leaves change, they want shit to do. And the storefronts don't have time to do it, but they're doing some really cool artisanal local stuff. And the property managers don't have time to do it because they're managing 40, 50, 60 cabins. And where I am, I'll come in, I'll create a beautiful website, because if you don't have digital real estate, I don't talk to you. And if your online presence looks like a Word document, no one's going to close you, because everything's energy. Everything's energy. And when you go on someone's website, that's a digital representation of them. So get you a great website, really a true website. And then it's branded, where we walk through the exercise of why are you doing this? And if you go on Oakenville, you see their story. They were beat out corporate slaves in Atlanta that knew that there was a better life. So I take that and extract that and look at the experiences that were created. That's not an Allison wants to create an experience. That's me taking my client, Justin and Augustina's story, building them a brand and a company around that, and then helping them scale that. Because until they cash flow, I don't walk away, because it's my reputation. So, and sometimes people just aren't good at sales, which was their case. They're nerds, and I love them. I'm a nerd. I'm a science nerd, but I'm a science nerd that apparently loves talking to people. So it's easy for me to have a conversation with property partners, because it makes sense. We put together a beautiful basket. We put together a great presentation with all local items. So when I'm knocking on Georgia Mountain Rental and I show up with a wicker basket of local honey, local mead, local wine, the local leather shop that just came in a week ago, they're like, who are you? Oh, I'm partnering with all the local vendors, and we're trying to bring more foot traffic here to get them away from the tourist traps. Would this be okay if we place this in your property? What do you do? Oh, here's our experience packages. You can, sometimes they're offered up at the cabins. Most times we bring people down. Oh my God, this is, well, what do you get out of it? We don't really get anything out of it. All we're trying to do is we're just trying to bring local money into the economy, because a lot of times people don't even know you guys exist. And you guys have great, beautiful properties.
So how do you find local vendors? Because there's only 3 ways. You could just do like a Google search. You can find them through social media, or like a travel website like TripAdvisor or Yelp? Do you have any other?
Well, let me tell you, and you know me, I go every place. With it, expect the local vendors to be kind of like an online dating platform. You know, not all of them look like their picture, and you know, not all of them do what they say that they do. And some of it's sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes that's a bad thing, because then when you get them in person, you're like, you're so much cooler. Like, we need to do this. And that's, I walked into this leather store and this guy had like, I mean, I felt like I just walked into an 1840s fur trading shop back in the day in like Native American. I'm like, you know, you got Coco, I'm standing in the back. I'm like, dude, who are you? Like, what do you do here? Like, whatever it is, like, we need to create an experience about it. Builds out his book and, you know, all these things. And we created 3 awesome experiences just around him and his background. Moved from New York, so whatever. You get to know people. Now, the only reason I flew out here was because of Helen, Georgia. When I landed here and I walked in downtown Helen, I about threw up. I will never send somebody down there. What it says online is not what you get. It is like a Fort Lauderdale, Disneyland, throw up tourist trap, trinket shit from China. Bullshit. So I had to pivot. And I said, okay, well, let me figure out. And because I've done this before, so I was able to move fast on the feet. But I was like, let me figure out, where are these people? Again, going back to my core 3 pillars: health and wellness, food and beverage, nature. And then from there, you can kind of cultivate. And I build these experiences. And then you'll get used to it. You can build these experiences. Because again, it's like, not everyone knows what to do unless you're there talking to people, interacting with people, knowing, hey, what's a cool trail to hike, or what would be something fun to do. And 9 times out of 10, I'm intuitive. I'll just sit in there and I'll be like, hey, what is asking to be born? You know what I'm saying? Everything has an energy, you know, and it's not some weird voodoo shit. It's like, hey, listen, if you're sitting up in the mountains of Blue Ridge or the mountains of Colorado or the desert of Arizona, what consciousness field will people come do? In Arizona, you can do a lot of medicine stuff, do a lot of sound work, a lot of health, and a lot of yoga shit. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to work in, you know, northern Colorado. Not going to work in Telluride. Not going to work up there because it's a different consciousness field. People, when they're up in Telluride, they want to be out. They're Aspen people. They want to come to events or culture things or art. You know, they're not going to sit in a medicine ceremony in the desert and, you know, stargaze and figure out what they just dreamt about. That's more of an Arizona desert community. And that's why you see those festivals and that kind of stuff out there. So every region has a consciousness and has its own energy. If you're in a downtown region, I stay away from downtown. It hasn't been successful because you're not building that much of a bridge. If I can go downtown Atlanta or downtown Boulder and do the thing, why do I need you?
Do you feel like that's because people aren't as connected if they are as
it's just more convenient. The city is more convenient. You can drive 5 miles and see 50 different shops. So if you want to walk in or interact with a local or vendor, they're right there. Where you're up in the mountain, you're away. You're flying into an international airport. You're going to your property. You're not seeing anything. And a lot of these guys are tucked, right? So if you're coming into a natural city or a metropolitan city, you probably don't even want to get in nature. You're probably going there for business, or, you know, maybe you're going there because family, but you're not looking for experiences. That's what I've found in my data, is that people who fly into cities, the experiences that they're looking for, they're more cheap, surprisingly or not. And I launched this in San Francisco before COVID, where we were taking people to the exclusive nightclubs, taking people to best Michelin star restaurants, taking people and chauffeuring them to like doing the whole, it didn't land because people could do it by themselves if they wanted to.
But yeah, that makes sense. So as far as marketing this inside your Airbnbs, like you go crazy and create a website for them.
Because it's a brand, it's its own company. Because here's the thing. Here's my Airbnb that I'm in right now. Let's just call this Alison's Airbnb, LLC. Okay. Then you have Lux Life Experiences. Lux Life Experiences is the concierge experiential company that partnered with Alison Airbnb. Even though I'm the owner of both, guess what? Lux Life Experiences isn't married to Alison Airbnb, and she can go out and go into every single other rental around her. So Lux Life, that's what I'm telling people. If you have properties, which most of you do if you're in Justin's class and group, launch on those. But guess what? That's your guinea pig. Those are your beta babies. You're launching on those, and you're also going out and you're saying, hey, I'm this person. I'm this identity. I'm Bradley and Co. I'm Maple, Montana. I'm whatever your name is, whatever your brand is. And you can go out and arbitrage and get in with the property owners. That's what I'm saying, is that's two different things. Yes, they can be the same thing. Yes, you can be owner operator, but an experiential tourism company is different than the short-term rental business. It's going to help it. It's going to complement it. But it's two different things. And even when we sold the land, so for example, when you sell a short-term rental, you're going to sell the short-term rental and then you're going to sell the business. So if you're selling, and this is important because here's the thing, you can sell your experiential tourism business for 3x, 2 to 3x. Really? So let's say I have a property, I'm selling it, and we just did this in Arizona and we just did this in Colorado. We sold it for $2.4 million in Colorado, Tabernash. And the experience package and group retreat company that was making $250,000 to $500,000 every 3 months was sold separately. And we told the buyer, we said, listen, you can buy this, but it's going to come at a 2 to 3x premium, because if you want to continue this cash flow, then you're buying that business. If you don't want Lux Life Experiences to be on this anymore, and you just want to be Kevin Chow, owner of Tabernash, cool. 2.24 million. There's your asset. There's your house. Go run with it. Yeah. And that's what he did, because he wanted to use it for his family, and then he just wanted to do his own thing. He didn't want to launch it yet, but guess what? He's like, as soon as we season this in, as soon as our family uses it, we're going to call you. Because we put numbers up. This is just, I just told one of your students, this is just like athletes. This is just like college sports. Fucking scoreboard, excuse my French. Look at the numbers. But seriously, it is, because when people want to come at you, they're like, wait, what are you doing? I'm like, numbers. And that way you have factual data. So when you're door knocking, and I physically door knock, because here's another thing too. Let me finish this thought. When you're door knocking and they're like, wait, who are you? Because a lot of these people are older. And I say older in the sense of they don't understand experiential tourism, wellness tourism. They don't get it. These are old property owners who have been doing the same thing, and they have a website that looks like it was done on Word. So you have to be gentle and kind and nice. And if you come in with a basket of things that are from their locals, you already soften that grid. I'm very intense. You met me in person, and it's not that it's a bad intense. It's just that it's the energy that I bring to the room, where people are like, wow, who is this woman who we know nothing about that's coming in here and wanting to do something with my property? When you talk to people about their property, it's like talking to them about their 7-year-old child. It's like, no. And I'm like, okay, calm it down. Let me show you what we're going to do. And when you can present them with like, well, here's what we did in Saudi, here's what we did in Helen, here's what we did in White County, they're like, oh, wait, that's how I got in with the Chamber of Commerce. She's like, how do you know Doug? How do you know Linda? I just met these people a week ago. But you know what? They're already on my website. We already have a package for them, and they already have a book now button.
When it comes to marketing that inside of the not inside, well, I'll touch on inside of the Airbnb, but actually on the listing itself. One thing I talk a lot about, and I want you to speak to this specifically. So I talk about, most people try to tweak their listings to try to increase occupancy rate. And what you're doing is you're like in this commodity culture where you're decreasing prices until it's like a race to the bottom. And that's just not good business. I mean, any business knows, any real good business knows that like to increase bookings or occupancy, you have to increase value to your guest. So in terms of making a listing better, make it more marketable by providing more value. So, but how do you bring that value to the listing itself when the person's scrolling through Airbnb? What makes it stand out and makes them ultimately book that when you have this exclusive partnership?
So 2 things. Names are everything. I always have my own website and I always partner with the local rental agencies. I'm up here. I would never put my property on Vacasa. And I'm going to tell you why. Vacasa is a big name. I stayed at their property. The shower was broken. You couldn't pick up the phone and call somebody. They're assholes. I don't want Oakenville tied to that. I go stay at every property before I partner with them. I stayed at Pinnacle Cabins and I stayed at Georgia Mountain Rentals. 5-star service. Christmas music playing, firewood brought, and I felt like I was literally something happened with my washer and dryer. The guy was there I was still in a towel from the shower. I was like, I just called you. He's like, I know. I'm like, okay.
Can we see an example? Can we see an example of one of your Airbnbs?
Yeah, it's going to be on so Pinnacle Cabins is our property partner. Pinnacle Cabins of Georgia Mountain Rentals is one of our property partners.
I just want to get a visual while you're describing this because this is really powerful stuff.
Well, and it's huge too because you don't want to partner with a property that's shitty. And I've done that before because even the properties that we were down at in Arizona when this first launched, those were generic properties. And that's why a lot of these packages didn't sell. So you have to be in luxury listings. So if you go on Oakenville, that website that's launching December 1st, you go see the different property categories that we launch on. So you can have a more generic property, but just know that you're not going to get booked out that much. And the way you market this is you market this through the property rentals website. Pinnacle Cabins is booked out 90% of the year. A lot of these cabins you can't book out. So I'm in a fun market because I'm in a tourism market. I'm in a mountain market. So if you're in Arizona, if you're in a metropolitan area, if you're not in a tourism heavy market, then the question becomes, okay, how can I make my property stand out? Well, what is your brand? What are you offering? What is your experiences going to offer? And this is where it becomes a personal question because if you're just throwing spaghetti, hoping something's going to stick at the wall, and you're saying, well, I'm going to do kayaking, and I'm going to do paddle boarding, and I'm going to do wine tasting, no one's going to buy that because you just, to me, look like another Groupon. I want something that's going to speak to my heart that when I read it, I'm like, wow, this is really cool. And this is why you have to either fly to the place, and a lot of you, if you're local, go. And ask yourself, what would I want to do if my mom or sister or brother or best friend came into town? What would be fun? What would be memorable? Even in the baskets, I don't put any merch in the baskets that you won't use. If you throw my shit away, then what I just spent $18 at cost to make the basket. And that's another thing too. If I spend $18 and I turn around and I'm getting $9,000 a month on a bad month, it's worth it. So this is where it's like, it has to, and even myself, you have to be in the belly of the beast in order to know what you're up against, because you cannot do this on a Zoom call. I would have never known. That's why I fly to every location, because you have to be in it. You have to be immersed in the culture. How am I going to create a company for the Blue Ridge Mountains if I have never been here? I have known nothing about this town. How are you going to launch a company in an area that you don't know anything about? This is the difference. You can property manage all day and get your income. But if you want to level up and you want to value add, then you got to spend time there. You got to spend time knowing the clientele. You got to spend time knowing what the locals want. And the one conversation I had, the guy was just like, well, we're putting a moratorium up on short-term rentals. We're doing this because short-term rentals, they're kicking people. I said, well, what would make it different? What would you guys need? How could I help you? And if you solve people's problems, you're always taken care of. So that was a big thing too. Is like, how can I solve their problem? He's like, hey, Allison, Pinnacle Cabins, they own some. but they also arbitrage. A lot of them are empty nesters. That's their second home. And this is how I sign them. Their owners are used to COVID numbers. What does that mean? That means during COVID and everyone ran up to the woods, they were hitting 3x what they're normally used to seeing. So they're charging $350, they're charging $400 a night, and they don't want to come down. And what Pinnacle's having a problem with is saying, hey, listen, guys, that's COVID numbers. That's a once in a lifetime thing. Your house, if that, maybe be doing 158, 200 a night max. And you guys are wanting us to list it at 400. He said that they're on Zoom calls every single week trying to mitigate what the owner wants to list and what they want to list, because what the owner wants to list isn't selling, and what they want to list will book it out at 90% occupancy. So he's like, we don't know how to give him an extra cash flow. Boom, enters Allison, enters Oakenvale, enters Basket, enters Local People, enters Value Add, enters Case Study, closed deal. It wasn't even a fucking, excuse my French, it wasn't even a sale. It was an invitation. I solved this problem. And I said, hey, listen, I can help you with that. I can hit those numbers. He's like, no, you can't. I'm like, Harrison, yes, I can. And here's how we're going to do it. And at the same time, guess what? We're going to hit those numbers, and we're also going to bless the people in your local community that's living paycheck to paycheck. And he said, that's really fucking cool. Because
sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I just want to ask you a couple questions because I want to talk about your amazing experiences on these properties. I'm looking at one right now, the Vineyard Voyager. But before I want to do that, I just want to preface this with this question. So you have this website, you go to this property owner and say, we're going to make this badass. And now you have this experiences, you have the partnerships. Are they paying for advertising? So if the website is the main form of advertising, how is traffic getting to the website? Are these established businesses already before we go into
this one that you're looking at right now, we're launching December 1st, and we're launching on 90 cabins, expanding out to 1,400. We got to tier it out because, like I said, guys, I didn't expect to get blessed this much. And I said, I got to get operations set up to be able to do this. We have Google, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok's huge. You run campaigns to that. What we also have is we're on Pinnacle, Georgia Mountain Rentals, and I got about oh,
I think Allison just cut out here. Yeah, so this is amazing stuff. I don't know, Allison, are you there?
you got to know where they're at. Where is your client at? They're at Lake Arrowhead. They're at the golf course. Boom, there's a pamphlet. Boom, there's a business card. Boom. If you're in a more urban area, or you're bringing in,
you cut out about 30 seconds ago.
I said that you got to figure out where your clients are. So for us, our clients are in these local forums. They're all over the newsletters up here are like gossip. Like, oh, everyone has their newsletter. You know what I'm saying? Within a week, everyone knew my name, knew who I was and what I was doing, because it was a very small town and small community. But guess what? Smaller the town, bigger the short-term rental revenue.
Sure.
That's why I say the more rural, the more richer.
Okay, so there's this. A lot of students won't know this concept, but you're familiar with ROAS, return on ad spend. So you're running ad spend to these properties essentially, and
yeah,
the owner's paying that ad spend, I'm assuming, right?
Yes.
What does a ROAS look like for them? Then if they're making $9,000 a month off a property,
we just start really small. I mean, we start some campaigns just with like $200 just to test it. No, it's cheap as shit. That you don't start with a lot because and you don't even need it, because 9 times out of 10, the property partners that I partner with are already at 90% occupancy. People are already walking in the door looking at this. They already want this. They're already looking for the experiences. So to me, if you partner with the right person, partner with an A team. Don't partner with the guy that's not booking. And if you're, and I hear what you're saying. So if you're coming in from your strategy, what I would do is, if you're partnering with somebody that hasn't launched before, if you're arbitraging properties and you're saying, hey, I'm going to hit 7K. Here's 5. You want 5. Here's 5. I'm going to hit 7K. And I'm going to bet on myself to do that. And here's how I'm going to do that through experience packages. Then you have to have a brand. You have to have a brand, because that's going to set you off. That's going to set you apart. And then you have to have a website. If you don't have a website in 2023, whether you're a property, an eyeglass person, or a lash person, then you don't have digital real estate. No one knows who you are or what you're doing. Even if you just have a one pager that says the thing that you're doing, it just shows that you're competent and that you're keeping up with the times. White binder full of takeout menus and weird shit that's not even full is me walking in and finding a dial by number phone or fax machine in a small business. The minute I buy that small business and put in SOPs and put in tech, I don't even have to do anything to the sales. I already can increase it by 10,000 by just putting in the right technology. This is technology. The baskets are technology. You got to have to look at it like that. So your website is a technology. It's a business card. It's a digital representation of yourself. So for me, how I would do it if I was door knocking and I was saying, hey, listen, you have a beautiful multi-million-dollar home. Have you ever thought about doing Airbnb? Oh, well, it's not for us. We don't know, we just we don't like people in our house. Well, what about if you only did it with exclusive, vetted people who it was not open to the general public? Well, what does that look like? Well, my name's Alison Thomas. I do Lux Life Experiences. I cater to masterminds, corporate events, working class business professionals, traveling doctors and nurses. And we have to make sure that our clientele feels comfortable when they stay on the property. So we always create experiences. We always have nice amenities, concierge, concierge host or something at their fingertips. So what I would also do is I would put together just some custom things that they're used to in our other properties. Well, what does that look like? Well, for example, we'll stock the fridge. We always have a driver on call. We do some stuff with health and wellness, like, body, mind, soul. So maybe some yoga, breath work. You just start talking and they're going to be like, oh my God, this is amazing. This sounds so cool. That's the thing. It's like the more different you are, the more easier it is. And you want to go to the multi-million-dollar properties that no one will rent to. I don't want to go to a guy who's been mulling it over of Airbnb. I want to go to the guy that says absolutely not and close them and tell him why. Because he has a property that I can launch 3 income streams on. 1, experience packages. 2, corporate retreats. 3, small group masterminds and little events. That's the Trinity trifecta. You find a property that has those 3 income streams on, it's a layer cake. And you can do $111,000 months easily. And then you rotate. Experience packages is launched 24/7, just like your ADR. And then you throw in a little group retreat, 12 people, 38,000 net profit, pay out the facilitator. And this is what I was telling, I forget his name, but that's what I was telling the other company of biodynamic consulting, where you can make these relationships too. You don't have to use me. I just so happen to do bioenergetic healing and quantum healing. So I have list of
lots of the place and you do a lot of stuff.
Well, that's the thing, but you can find people who know practitioners or, facilitators, where the people who I roll with, when we say we're launching an event and we place it at the property, all their followers come. Here, ticket, admit 1 to Bastrop, Texas. Where do you gotta go? You gotta go there. That's where the event is. That's where the retreat is. You have to go there if you want the experience. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, find properties that are multi-million-dollar properties you would live in, appraise for that value, are neutral color, neutral tone, aren't weird, are centrally located an hour out or closest you can to nature or national park because it's amazing, and has the ability to do events or retreats. Though that's the cherry in the icing. If you can check those boxes just to do experiences, then you're cooking. And there's some, you know, trust me, you can do experience packages on other properties. But the nicer the property, the easier it is, and the more you can charge.
So you're like the Blackstone of experiential tourism. You're like the top, the Sonder. That's like the level you're playing at. So
100%.
So, and that's why you charge such a premium, is because you're the best. So,
well, I mean, Justin, here's the thing. It's funny. I would say the best, but I would say I'm a shark in the water. No one's doing this. And I literally smell blood, and people are like, oh my God, my market's dying. And I'm like, I'll fix that. I'll fix that. I'll fix that. And I told another one of your students, on the larger side, I see it. You see, I told you about Bahamas, Costa Rica, and we're building health and wellness resorts. We are building experiential tourism resorts. So here's a little house you can go to, but I'm doing it on the other side as well. I'm building out off-grid homesteads. I'm building out land, developing out land. So it's land development 100% for experiences. Post-COVID, everything changed. No one wants to go to a Marriott or Hyatt and sit in a square box with a granite countertop. No one wants to do that. Right. So it's like, everything's experience now. It's destination tourism, experiential tour. Call it what you want. And even at night, I'm scrolling on Instagram and TikTok. I see it. I'm screenshotting it. I'm going back at board meetings, just like, bro, we're doing a $500 million round for 17 parks across the globe that are 200 acres for purely experiences. So I see it on the large scale, and that's why it's like, bring it down to the small scale in the short-term rental market and do it within the local community. You bless the local economy, you help solve their problem, you put food on their table, you bless the local property managers, you remove their headache, you actually help out them with putting numbers back on the board for their owners, right? You are a solution-oriented company. You are the solution. You're the problem solver, and you position yourself as that. Stop thinking sales, stop thinking closing, start thinking invitation and answer. And you walk in the room, say, I have the answer to your problem. They'll look at you and they'll listen to you. But you walk in the room saying, I want to sign your property. They're like, get out of my face. I would do the same thing. We got to think like them from the other side of the room. When someone calls you and wants something, I'm like, who are you? Why do you have this number? Right? So it's like, naturally, we repel people that want something from us. But if we go in and we want to give them something, like you said, value, they're going to just pepper down and listen.
Yeah, it's really powerful stuff.
It is, but it took time. It took time. And that's the thing. I'll always learn. Like, I just had this trip and I'm still learning. Helen, Georgia was this beautiful German village. Yeah, right. That was a Tinder date. That was a what do they call it? But I'm so off of the online dating scene. What do they call it? Catfish. That was that was the catfish. Helen's a girl's name. That's funny. Helen was a catfish. Helen's a catfish.
So do you put these on Airbnb as well? I mean, I'm assuming your market is like pretty loaded.
Yeah.
So
what we do is, and this is a great question, and this is a conversation we had with the partners. Pinnacle has their own platform and they're kicking ass right now. You can't get into a Pinnacle cabin because they got their Christmas season. A lot of the owners come up with their families for the New Year's, and then they have a lull. And during their lull, from January to March, they'll put it on Vrbo, Vacasa, Airbnb, and Evolve. And all their calendars sync. But come spring, summer, forget about it. They're not launching on there because they don't need it. And this is why I say it's so essential to partner with properties that are just kicking it. Find a lake, find a nature park. For me, Georgia, I did not know that Georgia, Tennessee, and North Carolina were all 2 hours, like a 2-hour radius. Like, I actually told this one, I'm like, no, lady, like, you're in North Carolina. She's like, I know. And I'm like, I'm in Georgia. She's like, I know. She's like, it's literally an hour drive. Like, you just need to chill. find an area where it's that, where you can hit a Trinity. Trinity is powerful. Again, 369 Tesla, right? Trinity of experience packages, corporate retreats, masterminds, and events. Trinity of a tri-state area. Trinity of a tri-county area. Everything's a Trinity. If you can hit 3, it's amazing. But if you can hit 2, it's still good. If you can hit 1, it's still good. But you will start, like, again, I had to say no. When you say no and you have to tell them that you have to be put on a wait list to launch with us, like our Blue Ridge collection, we're only launching at 90 cabins, exclusive. We have vendors waiting to launch with us. We have cabins waiting to launch with us. I'm in, what is this? Waleska County, waiting to launch with us. That's cool. I'm going to tee myself up so I know that my income stream, it's infinite. It's when I launch it.
Allison, can you tell me, so I'm going to speak in some terms, because an extra, you're making thousands of dollars each month, right? 111,000 divided by 12. I mean, what's that on a property? That's insane. So for somebody that is, and this might take a little bit of thought here. If somebody has a property that is breaking even, they're in arbitrage right now, and they just want to make an extra $1,000 per month by tapping into experiential tourism, but they can't fly out to the property. They need to do something remotely or use somebody at the property that can go out there. What would be the lowest hanging fruit for just a quick extra $1,000 per month on properties without taking it to a Blackstone level? Like if you're gonna do this at a smaller scale, what would that look like?
Well, one, I would say call me. And this is why I would say call me. I could probably save you a lot of time, because here's the thing. If you want to deploy something now, call me, because I have the blueprint to do so. And I also say call me because there's a lot of things out there that you can't teach it. And I say you can't teach it unless it's like me walking into karate. I know nothing about karate. I know nothing about taekwondo. If I walk into him saying, hey, I want to just a quick little hi-ya, he's going to be like, okay, well, you just did it. Get out of my class. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's something that going in the fast lane is fine if you have a Jeff Gordon as a driver. I'm a Jeff Gordon. I can drive the car. But if I put you in the driver's seat, I'm not confident that you can drive that car. And then I don't want you to hit the wall and crash. So if you need to scale fast, call me. If you don't want to call me, what I would do is your number one pillar that you can always go to is a nature immersion or something to do with health and wellness. Those are what people will pay for. If you can give people peace and tranquility, they will buy that. There's not a price ticket on that. But it has to be above the massage. It has to be above the yoga. That's a very cool, everyone's doing it.
Interesting. So, but what really, because I teach smaller margins. So like if you can get a wholesale pricing on a service, even if it's like 20% of that service, you can make an extra $50 to $100 per booking. And if you get 3 of those, that's an extra $300. So at a small scale, but you're flipping this, you're doing this like you get a majority of the share, because these are such exclusive and lucrative partnerships that you're curating. These just aren't with local businesses. This is
but they are with local businesses. So a lot of these guys, they're just all downtown. They're all right on the strip. It's not even a mile long. I went and talked. So there are local businesses. The more local, the more smaller, the better. So for example, our candle making lady, right? So she brings a whole, it literally looked like, I thought it was real food. I almost ate it. She's like, ma'am, that's a candle. She brings a whole thing and you get to make your own candles and do your own candles. I'm like, oh my God, a candle bar. That would be so fun. We'll do a wine tasting. We'll open up a bottle of wine. We'll have the sommelier be doing wine tasting. Then they can do they can come and make their own candle bar. We'll do the charcuterie, whatever. We'll create a whole event for them. She charges $30 a person. Okay. I'm charging $150.
Yeah, because you have that, it's a better experience and you have it presented correctly. So
Right.
you're
Right.
premium.
But even if I brought people to her studio to do the candle bar thing, she wants $30 a person. Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'll buy a nice bottle of cab. I'm going to get some fruit. I'm going to get some whatever. It's going to cost me at cost $200. And then I'm going to charge each of them, $75 to $100 a head. So so let's say there's 8 people. 8 times 3 is 32. So she's going to make $320, and I just made 800 and some dollars. So I paid her $320. I kept my 4.
That's crazy. So you say that. Sorry, one more time. I was typing. She keeps 320. You keep 4.
She keeps 320 because, again, same concept you teach your students. The property guy wants $5,000 a month. You guarantee the $5,000 a month, and you keep the rest, whatever they make on top. She wants $30 per student.
Yeah.
And I'm doing $100 per student. So she's making, I bring her 8 people. Yeah.
Oh, so you're going the other way. So see, I would have thought that if she's charging 30, and that's a low thing. It's like, I would have thought it's more like the 100, and then try to get wholesale on that for like $70, which I guess you can do. But you're saying if she charges 30, oh, so I see where your exclusivity is coming in with this business owner now. Is that she wants 30? You're saying we're going to charge 100 and blow it out of the park. I'm going to drive you tons of traffic.
Well, I don't even tell her that. I don't tell them the price that I'm going to charge, because my experience is my experience. So if you go on candle making, you'll probably see the thing that we wrote up. Like, all she cares about is it's costing her $30. Like, her time, her labor, her materials, it's $30 per person. And that's what she sells at retail. So again, like I said, I'll buy a bottle of wine. I'll get bottle of waters for people. We take him down in a Sclade or a Denali, whatever. And I'll spend $200 to make the experience. And then, so at cost, I'm walking away $400 profit by being that bridge. I'm the liaison, but I'm also the experience, because a lot of these times, and that's what I'm saying, you have to coach the vendors, because even the leather guy, he's sitting outside his back porch twiddling something, and he has a bunch of cool shit in his store. And I'm like, Doug, what are you doing, dude? Like, how are you advertising? He's like, I'm on Etsy. I'm like, all right, well, fuck, dude. I'm like, here's what we're going to do. And then he's like, he tells me all of his experiences that he's done in his whole life. And I'm like, okay, you're going to teach, like, we're going to get a leather bracelet, and we're going to stamp, custom stamps. He's doing us a custom hat where you can do vegan leather, those like trucker hats and snapbacks that everyone's obsessed with. He wants $18 per person. I'm charging $75. So
you're
stuff
not,
like that.
You're not even getting wholesale pricing on the services. You're just like, what do you want? And you just slap it on your premium.
Right. Right. And it has to be at market, though, because here's the thing. I would never price them out of the market. And you want people to go to your experience. If it doesn't make sense, don't do it. Right. And that's why again, pricing model is a whole other strategy, because you can't say, oh, well, I just feel like I'm going to put $100 on there. No, well, that's stupid. You have to understand, okay, well, what are your materials? What's your time? What's your labor? How are you how are you getting the things? You know what I'm saying? Like, do I have to drive and get the bottle of wine? Am I hiring a driver? Do we get the bottles of wine at wholesale? All these little things that you're doing extra to make it an experience, you have to validate for yourself. And trust me, I learned the hard way. I threw numbers up and it didn't stick. And it was a sink and burn. As an entrepreneur, you fail hard one time, you get back up, and you will fight like hell never to have that feeling again, ever. Because it's the worst feeling to have, when you literally put your heart and soul into something and you watched it fucking die in front of you. So that's what I'm saying. My pain is your guys' profit. So if you do want to scale fast strategically. You can do it, but do it smart. Have a fucking blueprint. Because if I give you a blueprint right now to go build a house, and it's all mathematically zoned out, and we give it to, that's what's going to get built. But if you're just like, whoa, no, you're not going to get a house.
Do vendors ever get pissed at you if they know you're charging more?
No.
Probably not, right?
No, and here's why. Because they see the value add that I'm doing, and I'm also putting them in 100 properties. It's free foot traffic for them.
True, yeah.
They don't got to, they save money in advertising. They don't got to run Google ads anymore. I had one lady who literally pulled off her marketing because she's like, I can't keep up with your demand. and servicing my storefront. Her stuff was empty. So, and she was just like, oh my God, I love you. You're a godsend. She's like, I hate Google. I hate the internet. I'm like, okay. You know what I'm saying? So that's why everyone's different. Every market's different.
Wow. Well, Allison, that's crazy. I'm just gonna. I've been talking a lot. I've just been captivated. Honestly, it's really amazing what you're doing. So that's fine.
It's a huge market. It's a huge market, and that's what I'm saying. When you see the big players doing it, you know that it. My biggest thing coming out of COVID is I'm not going to work or spend my time and energy on stuff that's not going to be here 77 generations after me. And what do I mean by that? I mean that I'm not building anything commercially or professionally or developing anything on land that's not going to be here 77 generations after. So these places that we're building are here to last, and they're here to help people. And these properties and these experiences are gatekeepers to get people's foot in the door to understand the world around them, to connect them back into nature, to connect them back into their family, to have actually real connections. You know what I'm saying? It's blessing people with money and abundance. You know when people thanked me because they're like, we can pay our bill, we can put our light bill on. Fucking brought tears to my eyes, dude. And I used to be that person. I used to ask need help month to month back in the day. And now to be able to bless somebody, that's a whole other ball game. And this is what the thing is. It's that there's so much to go around. People are looking for this because they want connection again. They want experiences. They want real people doing real things. And that's why I fly out. And that's why I close deals, because they see me. They don't just see me on a Zoom call. They know that I'm that serious enough to come and shake their hand. You know what I'm saying? And this is what it's, if you're in hospitality, then be fucking hospitable. Please. You have to be, because there's people out there that are doing the thing that literally ruin it for all of us.
Real talk.
Yeah.
Awesome. We have to.
I know it's getting late, man. It was good. It was a good flow. It was a good flow. So next Tuesday, let's try and figure out where we can do like some Q&A, and that way we can popcorn in some other people, because I think that now that they get this next Tuesday, they'll have some really fun stuff to throw in, and then we can riff on.
Yeah, that was fun. Sorry, I shouldn't have talked as much as I have. Just really.
No, Justin, I think I'd appreciate it because you say a lot what people are, you know, your students. So you're saying what they're thinking. So it's very helpful to have you on.
Yeah, it's just so, I mean, even at the level that I'm at and doing some experience stuff, and it clearly shows that you're the best when it comes to doing this. I mean, I don't think there's anybody else that can do this at your level, because you are boots on the ground. And
it's boots. You listen. This is what I'm saying. You have to be on the battalion. Sometimes you got to be the gunner. You know what? But it pays off, and that's the thing. It's like I'm at where I'm at because I literally will show up. And I think 90% of success is you just showing up. Even with any business. My first business, I'll never forget. I literally went to a cafe and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. It was me and my like little like college rule notebook. And I'm like, you know, I just showed up for myself. So if you show up, you'll just start meeting people and things will happen. And, you know, and people here, the 7 people who showed up for this call, everyone got something that they needed to hear. Guaranteed. Fresh strategy, fresh outlook. You know what I'm saying? And those 7 people are going to be your students that are going to excel and move faster than anybody else that comes into this group. And I'm going to end on this. You give so much value. And every time I talk to one of your students, I always praise you for 2 reasons. One, we came in together with Brian Page. We went 2 different separate ways. You went quantity, I went quality. And then we're coming back together in this like equilibrium. You nail SOPs. You nail back of the house. You nail strategy. You have a company, my friend. You can step away, and you are stepped away, and your shit works. Everyone who we started with at that level, if they step away, their company fucking fails. They do not have SOPs. They can't sell their company if they wanted to. So that's where I praise you, because if you don't have that, then you create headaches. And there's so many people like Pace Morby community and all these fucking communities. They're like, oh yeah, get into real estate. And they jump in and they know nothing about systems, nothing about processes. The amount of value that you're giving these people blows my mind. this mastermind should easily cost $10,000 to $15,000. Easily.
Ask ChatGPT or Bard what it's worth. It'll fucking blow your mind.
Easily. Like, I can't believe, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just like these, like, people who are in here who are starting, you guys are blessed, because I know that when you launch this, like, second tier, 100% high ticket, like, because the fucking value is just insane. If you can read and write, there is no reason why you should not have a successful short-term rental company going through this process. Like, 100%. 100%. You would have to be ignorant, because it is literally written down for you, line by line, of exact, like, Justin, the amount of, like, scripts that you give people. I literally, like, I sometimes, like, feel bad. Like, I'm like, oh my God, like, it's, like, really, like, done for you. Like, you can, like, I'm like, I feel bad giving it to people, because I'm like, you need to, like, pay him like $10,000 for this. Like, this is fucking crazy. I know what we like, and I think as business owners and starters, like, we've seen each other there, where it's just like, we know personally what goes on behind closed doors, and like how hard we fought to get to where we are, where it's just like, okay, our blood, sweat, and tears are worth something. You know what I'm saying? And we're just like out here sharing our wisdom and expertise with people. It's like, damn, dude, like, you didn't see me when I was fucking down and people were kicking me. You know what I'm saying? Like, now you see me, but fuck, like, it's been a journey. So anyone on here and whoever watches the replay, you guys are in, like, the best hands, because honestly, like, you would have to be blind not to get it. And I don't mean that offensively, but if you ever have a question, reach out. Like, I mean, it's not rocket science. It's literally line by line, and it's so easy. And I think the biggest takeaway for today is shoot for the stars. Go for properties that don't even, like, that, like the one done for you list. That's amazing. That's amazing, because you guys should go to those people and say, hey, I know you don't want to list on Airbnb, or maybe you've thought about it, but I don't work with the general public. I do exclusive experiences. Like, start to play with that angle, because if you come in with experiential tourism and you come in with, oh, corporate retreats or just small groups, you get your doors open and they understand that it's not an Airbnb arbitrage. And then you can say, hey, do you mind, like, if we're ever in a lull, that we can just, like, launch it on Airbnb to, like, get your cash flow back up? Yeah, that's fine, because you already built that relationship and that trust. It's all about relationship.
We should collab on, like, a how-to for this. And
yeah,
how I like to do things is a little bit different than what most people do, like, on this internet space. Most people will do, like, a really bad program and just, like, put it out there and say, this is a holy grail. I like to do three things. I like to give pillar number 1, pillar number 2, and 3, which is, number 1 is lowest leverage, meaning that, hey, this might not be the best way to do it, but it's going to get you some results. And then, like, you have mid-tier leverage, which is like, this is probably most scalable at the end of the day. And then you have hardcore baller, level 3, which is like, you're all in and you're doing everything that you can to make this work. So I think having 3 different programs around this, low leverage, not even low leverage, just medium leverage and high leverage,
right,
would be just absolutely insane. Because,
dude, yeah, let's do it, because let's do it. And you know what? And here's the thing: not everyone can start mid or high, and yeah, start low, get your feet wet. You know what I'm saying? And I think honestly, it's palpable, and no matter where you start, like, even if you're doing high, look at me. Look, I don't care how high tier I am. I will still get on a fucking plane and I will still come down here and I will still door knock. I will, and I forget what quote it is, but it's like, if you're an owner, can you go clean your toilet? Because the moment that ego comes on top of you, that's the moment your business dies. You know what I'm saying?
We're going to create 2 things. We're going to create one where you have to be on the ground, and then one where you can actually sell it. It's like you're totally removed and you could sell it if you want to. Those would be 2 very different. They're different, but there's going to be some parallels there. And,
yeah. We can do a completely virtual one removed. And I think that the biggest pillar is to have a kick-ass, awesome front of the house person. Like, you have to partner with a boots on the ground person.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Have you done that? All right. Yeah. We'll
no. What were you going to say? What was another question?
Have you done that before? Have you partnered with somebody who's your boots on the ground? Uh-oh.
I think I lost myself.
Yeah, I was asking, have you ever partnered with somebody who was your boots on the ground?
Yeah, I did, and I think you've seen that crash and burn. So we'll have to do a training on how to mitigate that and make sure that that doesn't happen.
Happens to everybody. Cleaners. I think this is a little bit more challenging task because there's a little bit more hands-on that evolves. So that'll be really interesting to do.
You can mitigate it though. I mean, you can get it to a point. But yeah, that was fun.
Well,
and then go ahead.
No, that was fun. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was fun. I was gonna say, I was like, honestly, that's so weird because that person that you and I both know, like, I thought about her like a week ago.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, I wonder what he's doing. Anyway, not to digress, but yeah, we'll collab, let's connect, and we'll figure some stuff out.
All right, sounds good. Well, I'll let you have the last words here. I'm not even supposed to be here right now. I'm just.
No, and I think it was good that you're here. And I think next Tuesday, what we'll do is we'll bring everybody on where we can do a gallery view. And that way you guys come in with, hey, this is my question. This is what I want to see more of. This is what I need to understand. You know what I'm saying? You have two powerful coaches here. It does not do anything if you guys are not asking questions. If you guys are not saying, hey, here's my property. Throw numbers up at the board. Throw properties up at the board. Throw stuff up so I can say, hey, here's a strategy. Here's what I would do. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're sitting there and you're not saying anything, yeah, you can absorb knowledge, but like do some real-time stuff because 90% of the time, your question will help 10 other people. So next Tuesday, bring your questions and then we'll figure out with however we need to do this to make it a gallery thing.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, guys. Everyone have a great Thanksgiving. Grateful for you, Justin. Grateful for this group. Grateful for the abundance that literally blessed with here. Let this be a living testimony to all of you guys watching the replay, watching the live. I am not special. I am not different. I wake up and put my pants on the exact same way that you do. I showed up, thought I was going to come to a city, didn't work out, quickly did a pivot, blessed with 1,400 properties, had to put a pause, only can launch with 90. So it's like, this is real life. Take a picture. Real life. Okay? Anyway, I'll see you guys next Tuesday.
All right. Bye.